Asians are trending. Crazy Rich Asians is smashing expectations at the box office. Netflixers are digging to All the Boys I've Loved Before. And this morning, the top entertainment article in IGN was about Kelly Marie Tran, confronting her trolls by writing an incredibly empowering emotional piece for the New York Times, and speaking for the first time publicly after leaving social media in June. And as an Asian American, this is awesome. Our culture and people are getting attention, walls have been broken down, but I'm so scared that none of this will mean anything in a few weeks or months, that will rise up for the short time, only for hate and ignorance to prevail. Asians will fall into the background again. This will just be some small forgotten victory. Some of you might be saying, victory? What is she even talking about? Well, if you're non-Asian American, you may not understand our perspective. With a handful of exceptions, mainly including martial arts movies, I have watched my people relegated to clownish stereotypes and bland supporting characters. I remember a couple years ago, I broke down in tears at work in my break room when I saw a commercial pop up featuring an Asian father and daughter buying a car together. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. I couldn't believe my eyes. It stirred my entire being. Honestly, I was in shock by my own reaction. To see Asians featured front and center in something so mainstream, unbelievable. And Crazy Rich Asians hit me hard, not just because it was a beautiful love story, but because it felt validating and liberating. People who look like me, starring in a movie on the big screen, an all-Asian cast showing our way of life. It reminded me of when I watched The Last Jedi a few months ago and Paige Tico died within minutes. I remember scoffing and thinking, of course, they show an Asian for a few minutes and Hollywood thinks they've done enough. But then Kelly appeared as Rose, and I was genuinely surprised. I remember thinking, how long before they kill her off? But then I started to slowly realize she could potentially be a protagonist. And honestly, that dominated my thoughts for most of that film. I just couldn't believe she was on camera for so long and doing so damn well, holding her own with all those other great actors. When it was over, I just kept thinking, what a cool movie. But even cooler that Kelly, who seems like a gem of a human being, totally owned this role, doing something so landmark for Asians and Asian women especially. As she notes in her New York Times essay, she will go down in history as the first woman of color in a leading role in a Star Wars movie. But lo and behold, just when you start to think we're making progress as a society, Kelly was met with an onslaught of hate and degradation online, seemingly exactly for that landmark achievement. Instead of being venerated and uplifted, she was dragged and beaten down verbally until she left social media entirely as a result. If you haven't read Kelly's piece, you should. It put into words so many things I've struggled with internally for so long. Crazy Rich Asians, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Kelly's op-ed. What will it all mean for us in the long run? Kelly's Instagram profile says, afraid, but doing it anyway. After all these developments this week, I'm scared too. I'm scared that all this won't really amount to anything. But after reading Kelly's essay, it makes me more determined than ever to stand up for what is right. Her bravery in speaking her truth should remind us all that we need to treat each other with the respect that we deserve. Treat each other equally. Take the time to understand other people's points of view and support them and lift them up. Just because you might not know that person's truth doesn't mean it's any less true. As the great Yoda once said, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. Thanks for watching, and as always, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.